Hi everybody and welcome to another piano video here on the Merriam Pianos YouTube channel. Today's a special day because I've got a special guest. She is a vocalist. Her name is Annie Bonsignore. She's going to be joining us here. She also happens to be my wife and often musical collaborator. And she is going to be grilling me on something that I talk all the time about, but who knows whether my ears can actually cash that check that my mouth keeps writing, which is the fundamental differences in sound between some of the world's most popular pianos. We are going to take VST instruments recorded meticulously, Steinway Hamburg D, Yamaha CFX, and a Kawai EX concert grand, and we're going to see if I can actually tell the difference between these two pianos without knowing which one I'm playing or hearing. Annie's going to help me out by randomly selecting various patches while I'm playing, and we are going to see just how good these ears actually are and whether there really are different characteristics about these piano tones that make them identifiable. So this should be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us. If it's the first time to the channel, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because we'd love to have you back for more videos like this, or instrument reviews, or any of the other things that we are always talking about here on the channel. So without further ado, let's go hear these three great pianos with our special guest.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Before we get started with the video, I do want to talk about what are some of the differences that make a Yamaha and a Steinway and a Kawai different from one another. Because these are three of the most recognizable brands, and in terms of concert pianos, certainly three of the most acclaimed 9-footers that you could possibly buy if you went out to adorn a new concert stage with an instrument. All three have some very interesting pedigree and very interesting history, but really what it comes down to are what are the major differences in the design of these instruments that might contribute to the sound that they produce. First, let's start with the Steinway. Now, the Steinway uses Sitka spruce. It usually comes from an Alaskan source when we're talking about North American Steinways, but this is a Hamburg Steinway they're going to be listening to, and that typically is an Austrian or a Bavarian white spruce. So this is an alpine spruce that usually grows somewhere in the 700 to 1,000 meter range, so it's nice, slow growth. And it's a similar spruce source to what you're going to find on several other well-known European flagship pianos, such as Bösendorfer or Steingräber or things of that nature. Bechstein used to use that as a source. They have now switched to Italian spruce, similar to Fazioli for their soundboards, but the Hamburg uses like an Austrian or a Bavarian white spruce. There are several aspects about Steinway design which makes it unique. It uses an inordinate amount of hard rock maple in their inner and outer rims, which gives it a very specific tonal flavor. It tends to reflect a lot of tone back into the center of the instrument. It is known as a very blended tone, meaning as you're playing it from the player's perspective, you really get a well-mixed sound coming right from the center of the instrument versus something where there's a very good separation, like a well-defined stereo field as you're playing it. So that's a characteristic. It has a treble bell, and in combination with how they duplex scale, that tends to create a very particular treble experience, something with nice sort of ambient wash, but still a very good defined attack to the treble. The instruments are known for having an extraordinary dynamic range to them. It's almost impossible to make a Steinway distort, no matter how hard you push it. This is one of the reasons it's made such great concert instruments over the years. The dynamic palette is pretty extreme. The Hamburgs in particular aren't necessarily known for having the widest tonal palette when you compare it to some of the other instruments, but certainly in terms of its dynamic potential and its ability to speak and project right across the range, it's really quite exceptional, and certainly one of the reasons it is often cited as one of the top 2 or 3 concert pianos in the world. The Shigeru SK-EX has actually borrowed quite a bit from the Steinway heritage. It uses vertically laminated bridges just like the Steinway does, hard rock maple cap just like the Steinway does, includes quite a bit, not as much, but quite a bit hard rock maple in its rim construction. It does not use a treble bell, and the approach to the treble generally in the Shigeru is quite a bit different. It's one of the things that really makes it stand out and gives it a more unique palette, a unique tone. It also isn't quite as much of a blended tone as the Steinway. I would say that it's kind of in between. It isn't quite as separated and really beautifully defined as, say, something like a Bechstein or a Bösendorfer, but it isn't quite as blended as a Steinway. It's something kind of in the middle. It's a very warm and an incredibly colorful tone, so you can get this very intimate sound out of the instrument, even when you're really pushing it quite a bit. So an interesting experience to play that Kawai, either digitally or in person. And then of course the Yamaha CFX, which is the update and the most recent Yamaha 9-foot. This comes after their CF3S model, which was very respected. The CFX kind of takes it into a whole new level that is now properly competing with the likes of New York Steinway and the Shigeru SK-EX for musical accolades and attention. The CFX has really brought all of those specs up to what you would expect out of a top tier instrument. Obviously tapered soundboard, nice alpine spruce being used. It's using vertically laminated bridges as well. Quite a bit of maple, hard rock maple in the rims. They've improved the piano wire that they're using. They've improved the bass wire, or I guess the bass strings that they're using. And I would say a greater emphasis on some of the mid partials than what some of the former Yamahas tended to do, which was the mid partials were not nearly as emphasized as some of the higher partials, and you had a sound that sometimes sounded a bit sandwiched, quite bright, but sort of missing a thickness to the middle of the tone that the CFX now I think has achieved quite nicely. So there is a little background on the 3 instruments we're going to be hearing and we're going to be playing. And now without further ado, let's get our special guest. Okay, so here we are with our 3 piano tests. These, as I said in the intro, are probably 3 of the most compared instruments on the planet. And my lovely assistant here, who also happens to be my wife and a very talented musician herself, was saying the other night that she wondered whether I could actually tell the difference between these instruments if I wasn't looking. And I thought, that sounds like a heck of a video and an interesting kind of arena or venue to maybe talk about some of the differences between those 3 pianos. So we have got lined up a Steinway Hamburg D, we've got a Yamaha CFX, and we've got a Kawai SK-EX. Now, we're not in front of the acoustic pianos, but I think we've got something that's even better, which is likely the most meticulously recorded versions of these 3 pianos that you can possibly access on Earth. So we're using the Synchron Vienna Symphonic Library's Yamaha CFX, we're using their Hamburg Steinway D, and I have got the SK-EX wired up coming through the Novus 5, which uses kind of a multi-dimensional sample set anyway, just like those other 2 sound engines. We've got all the reverbs trimmed so that they are as close as I possibly could. We've got all the tonalities so that we're really trying to do apples to apples here, and I have absolutely no idea what order we are going to be picking these in. I'm actually quite curious to see whether I'm going to be at like a 50% success rate or a 60% success rate. I'd be super impressed if it was 100, but somehow I doubt that. Anyway, no, but thank you very much for playing along.
Well, you know, I'm really excited to do this because it's kind of like,
Yeah, I know. You're going to want to trip me up here.
Okay.
So I think this is how we're going to do this, is I'm going to turn around, I'm going to play this instrument. I can't see the screen, We've got it set up so that Annie can select between these 3 instruments. She's going to do so randomly. I'm going to play 10-15 seconds a piece, and then I'm going to try and name what of the instruments she has selected, and we'll see just how accurate this winds up being. Let's give it a rock.
And I will be taking note.
Well, yeah, of course.
So we will have the proof at the end.
All right, so I'm not looking. Pick a piano, let me know when I can go, and I'm going to start playing. I'll play 10-15 seconds, and I will give you a guess.
All right, go ahead.
I think that was the Kawai.
Okay.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking.
All right, next one.
So I think I got the first one wrong. I think that's the Kawai.
Which one?
That one, the one I just played, and I think the first one was the Steinway. Those two are hard to tell apart. I don't know.
All right, are you ready for the next one?
I am.
Okay.
I'll try not to play too long. Okay. Here we go.
I don't mind.
That sounds like the Yamaha. Okay, I'm gonna say Yamaha.
Okay, next one.
Steinway.
Okay, next one.
Yamaha.
Next.
It's the Kawai.
All right. Go.
Steinway.
Next.
Kawai.
Can I just stop you for a second, because I'd love to know how you're feeling right now.
Well, I'm either right or I'm wrong, because now I'm starting to hear all kind of like the little differences between each of them. So now I know which one of the ones you're picking. I just don't know if I've like labeled them the right way. But now
You're feeling a little bit more confident.
well, like
Possibly.
I know the one that I've called the Steinway. I could recognize that every single time, but I just don't know if I was right to call it the Steinway. Same with the Kawai or the Yamaha. So from this point forward, I'm either going to be 100% right or 100% wrong. So I don't know.
All
I'm
right,
curious.
we have two more. So
All right.
let's, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, go.
Yeah, that's like that. I think that's the Kawai.
Okay, and last one.
Huh. I think that's the Steinway again.
All right. Well, do you want to know, or?
Yeah. I want to know. How did I do?
Okay, so you actually got 9 out of 10.
Oh, well, hey.
You got all of them right. Oh, I mean, the first one, you changed your answer, and I was like, yes, you changed your answer, because you were right to correct yourself. And then, yes, you got all of them right, and then at the end, I just played Yamaha, and you thought it was a Steinway.
There was something there. I don't know. There you
Well,
go.
you know what? I think getting 90% it's pretty darn good.
Well, it's not bad.
I felt like the Kawai, I had more emotion when I was listening to it for some reason. Or maybe you felt that when you were
Could
playing
be.
it.
I
don't
mean,
know.
it could be.
I
It's
just
always-
felt like you played and you were kind of feeling it. I mean, you didn't even know what the pianos were yet. With that specific one, I just felt more when I heard it.
And we might do one other part of this video, because I'm actually really curious. What you will certainly hear is that Annie is an incredibly versatile and quite gifted vocalist. Very lucky to have her on all fronts. On all fronts, but you know, in the context of this video, on the musical front, certainly lucky to have her. And I'm actually very curious to know whether there's a specific sound that you enjoy singing over. So what we might do is take a super short break and get set up, and then maybe have you do a little bit of singing over top of these three pianos, and see if there's one that just seems to kind of blend with your voice more. See if you have a preference. That might be fun. Might as well make use of the guest appearance.
That sounds fabulous.
Awesome. So we'll be back in just a second. So we'll do the Yamaha first, Steinway and Kawai, just because that happens to be the order. We've got them lined up there. Okay?
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground, won't be turned around, and I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Cool. All right, so Steinway now.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground, won't be turned around, and I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down.
Okay.
Cool. So that was the Steinway.
It's a little higher than I remember. I think I'm going to do the second verse now.
Well, I know what's right. I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me round, but I'll stand my ground, and I won't back down. Oh, I won't back down in a world
So, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it might help. Well, I'm not just saying this, but I really like the last one. The last take best. I mean, it was very warm. It felt very, like I mentioned before, more intimate of a sound. I also really like the Yamaha Steinway. Yeah, it was a bit far away for me. It wasn't. I don't know how to really explain that.
Well, that's not. It's good feedback, and it's not totally surprising. I mean, Yamaha's got a really nice. One of the things that
it wasn't
makes
warm enough to me, like warm.
Well, but one of the reasons why I know a lot of mixing engineers like Yamaha's is because it doesn't have as much kind of mid-range sort of content in the sound. It's easier to mix. Like, it's not often competing.
Yamaha?
Yeah, like Yamaha's. It's not often like competing for the same sort of EQs as like human voice and warmer guitar sounds or other things like that. And of the three, Kawai certainly has the reputation of being the warmest. And I think the Steinway is probably, I mean, Steinways are super dynamic. They really have a beautiful range of volume.
I really enjoyed the tone of the Kawai as well. It was just, it really, I felt like it complemented the voice a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a personal thing, but it is anyway.
A personal thing. But to me, I really liked the Kawai, and then I think the Yamaha, and then Steinway would. I don't want to get in trouble, but.
Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching the video. And if it was the first time that you've joined us here on the channel, we would also love for you to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you will know every single time we come out with another video. We love exploring pianos and all things related to pianos here on the channel. And so if you've enjoyed it, come back, because we hope that you will enjoy more. My name is Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube, and we'll see you again soon.